Well, welcome. Thanks for joining me for practice today. So go ahead and come into a seat if you're not already in one. You might be in a cross-legged seat. You might be sitting on a chair or in another way. But just take a moment to settle into a seat that feels comfortable for you. And then as you allow your eyes to close, begin to drop your attention inside your body, beginning to check in with any physical sensation that might be present, as well as any thoughts or emotions that might be present for you this morning. And as you're starting to check in with your insides, begin to invite into your body a slightly deeper breath so that you feel that as you're breathing in, there's this sense of expansion, of widening, of broadening, of getting bigger. And then as you're exhaling, you're landing back into the space that you find yourself in. Now we'll join our palms in front of the heart, interlace the fingers, press the palms forward and up toward the ceiling. And then just begin to reach up through one hand and up through the other side, left and right a few times, gently tugging on the fingers, lengthening each arm, each side of the body. All right, let your hands separate and float down to the floor. Walk the right hand out, leaning into it. Take your left hand to your left shoulder and just start to rotate. Take a few circles in one direction. And a few circles the opposite way. All right, then take your left arm all the way up and over. Begin to squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist. A couple of times each way. All right, then with your in-breath, rise up. And with your out-breath, release your hand. All right, we'll slide that left hand out. Lean into it, take the right hand to the right shoulder, and again begin to rotate. A couple of circles in one direction. And change directions. All right, then take your right arm all the way up and over. Start to squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through the wrist. All right, then as you inhale, rise up. And as you exhale, release your arm. All right, so we'll shift onto hands and knees. As we come to hands and knees, remember to take care of your knees. If you are on a hard surface, perhaps you have a blanket or something soft under your knees, if that's helpful. And then with your hands just about shoulder distance, your knees about hip distance, we'll move through cat and cow a few times. With each inhalation, let the belly drop. Lift your head and your tailbone. With each exhalation, tuck the tail, round the back, bring the chin toward the chest. And just move at your own speed here. Checking in with your torso, as well as the shoulders and hips, the places where your limbs connect to your torso. And take another breath or two. All right, and then have a seat back towards your feet as we briefly come into child's pose, releasing the head toward the floor or a block. Take a moment to soften into this very internally focused posture. Again, connecting with the flow of breath coming in through the nose, flowing down in the direction of the belly, and then exhaling back up and out. All right, one more round of breath. All right, and then pull yourself back up onto hands and knees. Once there, tuck your toes under, lift your knees, take your hips up into the air as we find downward facing dog. Lift and lower the heels a few times, checking in with the feet, the ankles, the backs of the legs. But then also sending attention into the hands and really utilize the fingers to support the weight of the body and not just landing heavy into the palms, but really use the fingers to push down. Now take a deep breath in as you come forward to plank pose. And then your choice, you can come all the way to the floor from here or drop to your knees first and then bring the belly and chest all the way down to the floor. Then we'll untuck our toes, walk the arms forward, take the elbows underneath the shoulders, gently pressing down into the forearms as you lift your heart and reach it forward. And then we'll just start to turn the head side to side, checking in with the neck. And then lift the chin up and drop it down toward the chest. A few times like that, lifting up and dropping down. And one more lift and drop. All right, bring your head back to neutral and then let your heart come down to the floor. Take your arms alongside your torso. Take a big breath in as you lift your head and your chest. Your feet, your arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Reaching back through fingers and toes. If it's comfortable to interlace the fingers, that's also an option here. But palms facing is also fine. Sensing the strength of your back, offering this openness to the heart, to the belly, to the fronts of the shoulders. All right, one more breath. And then just let your feet, your arms, your chest, your head melt into the floor. Take a breath or two. And then just let your knees bend and let your feet sway side to side. All right, now as you release your feet down to the floor, press back up onto hands and knees. This time we'll take our knees close together. Reach the left leg back in space and just lift it up about the same height as your torso. So you're reaching strongly back through your left foot, but also imagine there's something sitting on the back of your left leg that you're pushing up against. And then add to that your right arm going forward. So left leg back, right arm forward. Now we'll just start to move this right arm. So take your right hand out to the side. Right hand to low back or a little bit higher if it can. Just kind of sensing what does the shoulder allow in terms of where that right hand will go. And then back out to the side. Keep the left leg strong. And forward. We'll do that one more time. Right arm out to the side. Right hand to low back or a little bit higher. And back out to the side. And forward. And now as you take your right hand down to the floor, cross your left leg over the right leg, drop the toes, and then curve the spine to the right. So you're peeking back at your left foot, sensing all the way up the left side of the body. All right, bring your torso back to neutral, your knees back underneath your hips. And then we'll drop down onto our elbows and just let the elbows be underneath the shoulders. Take the hands together, interlace the fingers. So you're just gently pressing down into your forearms and you feel the strength of your shoulders. And then just tuck your toes under, lift your knees, release the head toward the floor, but really keep most of the weight, if not all of the weight, in your forearms rather than your head. And just reach the hips up into the air, feeling the belly and the chest move toward the thighs. Now, just like our downward dog, you can have your legs straight, you can have your knees bent. If you want to experiment with taking one leg up into the air, you certainly can. But just take a moment to let yourself be upside down. Soften the facial muscles. Take another breath. And now just start to walk your feet back so that you come into your forearm plank, lifting your head to look forward. Elongate head to feet. And then release to your knees, your belly. Open the arms up, once again landing here in Sphinx pose. Press down into the forearms, lift the heart, reach it forward. All right, lower your heart. Once again, take your arms alongside the torso. Deep breath in as you lift your head and your chest. Your feet, your arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Possibly take the hands together, interlace fingers. Couple additional options this second time. Maybe you take your arms out to the sides or forward. Just noticing how that changes the quantity of sensation in the body depending on where your arms are at. All right, 2 more breaths. And again, just let yourself melt right into the floor. Feel the inhalation, lift and expand the back. And once again, bend the knees, sway the feet side to side. All right, releasing your feet. Press back up onto hands and knees. Knees come back together. This time it's right leg back in space, left arm forward. And remember, with that lifted leg, you're not only reaching back through the bottom of your foot, but you're imagining that there's something sitting on top of the back of your leg that you're pushing up against. So you really want to feel the back of your leg engaged. And now we'll start to move this left arm as we did on the other side. So take your left arm out to the side and just pause. And then left hand to low back, or maybe walk it up a little higher if your shoulder allows that. Keep the right leg strong. Left arm back out to the side. And forward. And then we'll do that one more time. Left arm out to the side. Low back. Back out to the side. And forward. Now as you take your left hand down to the floor, cross the right leg over the left leg, drop the toes, And then curve the spine to the left. So you're peeking back at your left or right foot. Sensing all the way up the right side of the body. All right, then as you bring your torso back to neutral, the knees back underneath the hips. Letting that left hand stay where it is, sweep your right hand out to the side and up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, tuck your right arm underneath your left arm and just drop down onto your right shoulder. Now, if this isn't very comfortable for your neck to drop all the way down onto your shoulder, maybe you put something underneath your shoulder like a cushion or a pillow so there's more space for your head and neck to exist in this space. If it's perfectly comfortable for your head and neck in this position, you can experiment with where your left hand goes, and maybe it provides less support if you reach overhead or reach back behind you. But we're just looking for this feeling of rotation. So feeling like the chest is turning away from the floor. Another option I like to do is interlace the fingers so that both arms start to straighten. And then when my top arm is pushing like away from me in the direction that I'm looking, that helps me rotate the chest away from the floor, but also invites a little bit more stretch into that right shoulder blade area. You might have a similar experience, or you might prefer a different variation. All right, 2 more breaths. All right, now use that left hand to push down. Drag the right arm back. Hands back under shoulders. We'll do 1 downward dog between sides. So when you're ready, tuck your toes. Lift your knees, hips up. All right, and then release down to your knees. This time, left hand sweeps out and up. Take a breath in. With your exhale, tuck your left arm underneath the right arm, dropping down onto your shoulder, or shoulder onto a cushion or block to give your neck a little more space. And then right hand gently presses into the floor to turn the chest away from the floor. Again, you might take some other variation, maybe taking that right arm behind your back. Or palms together, interlace the fingers, top arm reaching, kind of gently tugging in a way on that lower arm. All right, then 2 more breaths. All right, use that right hand to press down. Drag the left arm back. Tuck the toes. Lift up to downward dog. And then we'll just very briefly come to stand for 1 standing breathing practice. So just walk your hands back toward your feet and then up your legs to rise to stand. So we'll do breath of joy. So that's 3 breaths in through the nose, 1 breath out through the mouth. So you'll be inhaling as you take your arms forward, and then out, and then up, and then exhaling as you bend your knees and sweep your arms back. And we'll do this around 15 to 20 breaths. So find a stance where you feel pretty steady and grounded. So not super wide, not super close, but somewhere in the middle. Have a little buoyancy in your knees, and let's begin. last breath. And then just pause a moment, kind of halfway folded forward with your forearms resting on your thighs. Allowing the energy to settle back down a little bit here. And then in your own time, just rise back to stand. And we'll step near the back of the mat. Feet about hip distance apart as we take a breath in and find chair pose. Pausing there for a breath or two. Sending some weight back toward the heels. Feeling into the back sides of the legs. Another breath in. And then as you exhale, fold over your legs. Walk out to one more downward dog. And then once there, you can release to your knees. And then find your comfortable seat. We'll do one more breathing practice from a seated position. All right, so we'll practice alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana. So again, using your right hand, take your peace fingers in toward your palm, and you'll be using your thumb and your ring finger to block the nostrils. So start with your right thumb on your right nostril. Inhale through the left side. Close it off, open the right and exhale. Inhale, right side. Close it off, exhale, left side. Inhale, left side. Exhale, right side. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Now just keep going at your own speed. In through the open side. Out through its opposite. In through the new open side. Out through its opposite. So after the next time that you exhale through your left nostril, just allow your right hand to come down and rest on your lap. And just begin to feel the breath flowing in and out of the body without any restriction to which nostril. Perhaps sensing the coolness of the breath as it flows into the body and the warmth of the breath as it flows back out. Again, connecting with awareness of sensation within your body, of thought, of emotion, as well as the subtle buzzing of the energy that you're made of. We'll join our palms in front of the heart. As we bow to the light within ourselves, we also bow to the light within each other. Namaste.